What is your take on that? That whole standoff and the protesters and...
The BLM is being pretty heavy-handed in that. I just found out yesterday that there's another level of complexity there, which I wasn't aware of, and the press isn't talking about it much. The BLM got worried about the Mojave tortoises, and his land has Mojave tortoises on it. So they then went to him and said, well, we're worried that you're gonna step on a tortoise and damage them. And of course the BLM has actually killed a bunch of them to get them out of the way, but nevertheless, they don't let common folks do that. So they said, we're gonna quadruple your grazing fee. We'll let you keep ranching out here, but your grazing fee is gonna go up. And he didn't take very kindly to that, because it wasn't a whole lot of justification about tortoises that have to do with growing grass and how much grass there is out there. So he then stopped paying grazing fees. Well, as a fellow rancher, I think we all ought to pay grazing fees if we're using the federal land. I think it should be paid, but maybe not arbitrarily quadrupled, and maybe not, bring 100 armed people to forcibly take the cattle. I think they're getting a little heavy-handed, but should grazing fees be paid? Absolutely. If you use the land and you're a rancher out there, you should pay your fair share of the grazing fees.
How do you feel about the protesters, though, with their weapons up on the bridge and aiming them at the Fed?
I'm going to stay clear out of it. I don't know enough about it, to tell you the truth. We had a real short story, and it was quoted in the paper yesterday. The Klump brothers over near Wilcox had the very same situation about 20 years ago, and they bordered me. And so I was going out to work on the windmill at High Lonesome one day, and out there in the middle of nowhere, there was a roadblock. And there isn't one car a week goes down that road, but here's a roadblock, and they said, you can't go over there. And it was about 4 miles from Klump's place. So the BLM in that case had not only barred Klumps from it, but they barred everybody else, and then they sent their crew in. And the thing I didn't like about it, the Klumps should have paid their grazing fees, and they should have put the proper number on there, okay? I subscribe to that, and they didn't. But the BLM spent so much money gathering the cattle for the Klumps. They had helicopters and about 100 cowboys and all this and that. They hauled them all to the auction in Phoenix and sold them, and the total value of the cattle didn't even pay for the cost of gathering. And the Klumps got nothing out of that. They theoretically, they'd sell the cattle, take the grazing fees, and give the rest of the money to the Klumps. Well, it cost more money to gather them than the cattle were worth. So something is upside down when you get in that situation. I don't mean to go on about that, because I don't know enough about that situation to talk intelligently. Okay, done.